This one we're getting a little bit controversial. We're talking about OnlyFans. So OnlyFans came out probably when I was dipping out of high school and probably a little bit into college. No, actually, I think it was right as I was starting to leave college, so dipping out of college. So OnlyFans is like a nude sharing website, and I think it's just crazy because all in all, it's literally from what I've seen of how it's used, it's literally just a locked version of Twitter. And it's like you have a private version of Twitter or like a private Twitter account. That's literally what it is. So when you have an OnlyFans, you basically are subscribed to a girl's private photos. And it's just like there's so many different ways that this could have gone. I think that the reason that I think I heard that it shut down. I don't know if that's true, but I thought I heard that it was shut down. But the way that it could have gone would have been so different if there were actual paid plans. Like there were ways to pay on it, but if there was like a paid subscription for the whole app itself, and then you break it down into like maybe having a free account, then I'm sure it would have been different. And then I also wanted to talk about the way that, kind of in the same niche, cars. So cars are definitely doing some sort of different thing. The latest I've seen is basically like the Brie Lawson commercials where she's driving, she's like, so like all epic and stuff. But for the most part, nothing really big is happening with cars. Um, it's like for the most part, people are just buying the same car, and that's kind of where it's like that's an explosive thing to say because it's like you're not paying for new features, you're just buying the same features over and over, and we're kind of waiting for something revolutionary to happen, but at the same time, it's like we're used to revolutionary. So it's like we kind of are fishing a barrel when it comes to car shopping, because it's like anything I know, at least for myself, anything that's super exciting or enticing always grabs our eye, but we don't really want it within the next 2 or 3 months. I had a Pontiac G6. That thing was ripping fast. Like I would rip up and down the road so fast in that thing. But it had problems. And that's the thing with cars is like you can have as much fun with it, you can have as much use out of it, you can have as much purpose for it. You can even I don't know, you can rent it out. You can do an Airbnb with your car. But if you don't have liable like insurance or sorry, viable insurance or a reason to use the car, you're just going to throw it out like a piece of crap. Like you're going to throw it out like sorry, I misspoke. Um like a piece of garbage. And it's like you can only keep this car in your possession for so long. So what happened to me, for example, is I started having status problems with my car like a Pokemon. So like one thing would fix, and then I'd have another problem, and then another problem, um, and then I ended up getting a Nissan Titan, which was this big gas guzzling truck, and it's the same thing. Like I expected things to be wrong, but nothing really was wrong. But I ended up selling that one too. But it's like we put so much into our cars, and it's like we don't really get much out of it, and it's kind of just kind of sucks a little bit. And this loops around to advertise. excuse me, to advertising. So advertising is something that catches our eye, and it's like no matter what we do and see, this process of activating our neurochemicals somehow makes us buy things. And it's like it's so interesting to me that we can go about our day having not seen something, and then as soon as we see it, it instantly makes us excited. It makes us like need to know why this thing happened or what this thing is about. And it's so crazy because we wouldn't know half of the things we know without advertising. Like for example, the Apple Watch that came out like probably pretty recently, probably a couple of months ago. This one has features like if you're in a crash, it literally automatically calls for help. It's like this is the sort of stuff that it's kind of borderline Terminator, but it's like for the most part, it's like it's more interesting because it's like who initially. Well, for one thing, the commercial grabs their attention, but who initially was like, what if we had an Apple Watch that calls for help? Like, who just sat there and said that? Like, who was just the person that was like, what if we just have a watch that just calls somebody? Like, it's so crazy to think about. Like, first of all, who had the idea, and then second of all, where did the idea come from? So, advertising is something that it's very, very niche based, where it's like you can go your whole day without seeing something, but as soon as that one piece of advertisement hits you, then you're set. You're literally solid because that initially means that that advertiser has access to you, and that makes it like a bridge between you and that advertiser. I had advertisements for this thing called Temu, and it's like this thing where you get discount items for like $1, for like $2, and it's like I had no interest in online shopping, but I would spend $2 to get a Switch for $2. Like, that's a pretty good deal to me. But there's nothing that I signed up for that made this person give me these ads, and that's where it's so crazy. But I also, with cars, I wanted to say more like along the lines of, not even along the lines, more like this is what a car is supposed to do, and this is what we get. And it's like, I don't know how to explain it either, even more differently than we expect to get one vehicle and we end up getting a second one. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense because it's like, we only need the one car, but then it's like, we weren't happy enough the first time, so we get a second one. That's kind of what I was getting at. But yeah, definitely like, it's so weird because like, neurochemicals and different chemicals in your brain tell you what to tell yourself. And it's like, it's so weird because it's like those same chemicals can tell you not to like something, but we have them tell us that we do want something. Like coffee. Like, I need coffee in the morning. Why? Because my brain told me to. Like, I know I'm that way with Monster. Like, if I don't have a certain type of Monster, I just don't function. And it's like, I can live without it. But if I need caffeine and I need it now and I need it in the morning, I always go for the same one because my brain is wired as such. It's just very interesting to see how we all function.